Magic 87.6, Andrew on the radio and Talking Tech with Matthew Dickerson. Hello.
Matthew on the radio here as well. Great to be chatting tech.
Yes, Matt, now this is kind of interesting because you wouldn't think an email would harm the planet, but how will it go about saving the planet?
Yeah, I'm not convinced it will, but some UK officials are saying we should be sending fewer emails because emails are creating all these greenhouse gases and destroying the planet. So if all of us just didn't send one email a day or reduced our emails by one a day, that would help us dramatically. And when you think about all the electricity that's used when you send an email on your phone or computer, out via your Wi-Fi or your router that you might have plugged in, all the internet connections that go to some server somewhere and it goes through the whole chain back in the other direction, there's a lot of links along that chain, but would sending one less email really make that big a difference? And so after these announcements by some UK officials, some back-of-envelope calculations were done by a few experts in power and internet, and they found that indeed, if we all sent one less email a day, and they used UK as an example, it would save 16,433 tonnes of carbon a year, which sounds pretty impressive until you realise that the UK generates 435.2 million tonnes a year. So it would reduce the amount that we would generate by about 0.0037% of all the carbon we generate. So I suppose the bottom line is, yes, if we sent one less email a day, that one email that said, thanks, okay, sure thing, just those simple little courtesy emails, it probably would save a little tiny bit of carbon, but again, it would. So I say, send those emails, send them off, and be nice about it all.
No, less emails is better because it would make my day so much easier because I hate it, Matt, when you have those people where you discuss something with them and then all of a sudden they go, yep, right, I like that. Can you put in an email for me? It's like, seriously?
They just want it in writing from you, Andrew. They want to make sure. But I'm a terrible offender for the thing where someone has a conversation, we go back and forth, and then I go, yep, thanks, sure, okay, just one little quick word to acknowledge as a courtesy that it's all done and finished with. But then sometimes people like to have the last say, so they come back and say their one little word as well, and so then you go, well, do I need to reply to that one now? Or am I being rude if I don't? So sometimes you do get these inane emails that go back and forth with one or two words in them too.
Well, Matt, I will expect a transcription of this conversation from you in triplicate, and I would like it by the close of business today.
As long as you send me back a one-word reply to acknowledge.
Okay. There you go. You've got it. Now, I don't know these people that sit on the toilet and use a phone. I worked with a guy in radio who habitually, he did breakfast radio, and at 9:10 every morning would just head there and just sit on there until 20 past 9, and he'd scroll through his phone. But apparently, if you do this, you could require surgery.
And 15 minutes that he spent on the phone that you just mentioned then is actually not too long. There was a gastroenterologist in Sydney, and he operated on a 23-year-old woman, and she had some huge hemorrhoids, and he thought, she's too young to be having this sort of problem. And so he did a bit more research and found that there were a lot of younger people who were now having huge hemorrhoids, having major operations for hemorrhoids. And as he researched it further, he found that people that were sitting on the toilet for 20 minutes, 25 minutes, half an hour, were actually at risk of having some hemorrhoid problems that eventually would require surgery. And the sort of surgery we're talking about might be experienced by people in their 60s, maybe in their 70s, might be experienced by people that have got some other issues that are working too hard on the toilet, if I can use that sort of term. But people that are spending too long on there using their phone are certainly the people that are at risk for some of these, and it's happening with younger people. And I am guilty. I do sit on the toilet and use my phone, not for that long.
Oh, really?
Look, it's just trying to save time. That's what I keep myself and say. But I had an incident a couple of years ago where one of my daughters was saying that she couldn't use her phone on one of the toilets. The reception for our Wi-Fi dropped out in one of the toilets in the house. So I ended up putting in 4 Wi-Fi routers throughout the house to make sure we had reception everywhere. But maybe I better change that decision and say no more phones in the toilets.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I can't do it. I've tried it to understand it, but I'm sorry. If I'm there to do the business, I'm there to do the business. It just distracts from doing the business.
Well,
It is,
you are alone. If you look at the Gen Zers, those people born between 95 and 2010, 96% of those people said they would not even consider going to the bathroom without their phone. Now, we're talking about hemorrhoids here. There's a whole range of other issues with COVID and actually spreading germs and basically, being unhygienic. But we're not even talking about that. This is just about the hemorrhoid problem. So it is an issue. And I think we'll see this start to be an issue as we go down the track, maybe in 5 or 10 years' time, as those Gen Zers get a little bit older and suddenly this issue rears its ugly head in more and more medical procedures.
yeah, I had hemorrhoids about a long time ago, but seriously, it is the most uncomfortable and awkward thing. And can you imagine the story? So what's wrong with you? I go, hemorrhoids. Oh, that's unfortunate. Yeah, I was looking at this mad thread on Reddit and I lost track of time.
3 hours later, they had to get me taken from the
Yeah.
toilet in an ambulance.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. EV, electric vehicles, they're going to be the next big thing, but some Australian states are trying to place a tax on them. No way, man.
Oh, just ludicrous. So South Australia's made the announcement. Victoria has followed, but they've actually gone a step further. They've actually put the price on it. They've said 2.5 cents per kilometre for an EV, 2 cents per kilometre for a hybrid vehicle. So I really don't understand the logic, but even the hybrid vehicles. So you've got cars that are trying to be more and more efficient now, use less petrol. There's a lot of greenhouse gases that are generated from cars. Transport's part of our solution, or EVs and transport are part of our solution for solving the climate change. But now you drive a more fuel efficient vehicle, so you're penalised. The example I heard, which I didn't mind, was if you're a smoker, because you're paying taxes to the government with smoking, and you give up, well, we better put a non-smoking tax on you because you've stopped contributing that smoker's tax to the government. And this is the sort of logic that we're talking about here. It can't be a revenue raiser for the government because 0.6% of our sales last year in Australia were EVs. So you're not going to generate much tax in that. The other really frustrating myth, Andrew, is that the government, or some people in the government, are saying that we've got to get back the money from lost petrol sales that's going towards the roads. But petrol tax goes straight to consolidated revenue. There's not a direct correlation between money spent on roads and the money that's generated from the fuel bowser. Sure, some of it must go there, about 30 or 40%, but it's just going back to consolidated revenue. It seems like one of the things that I've seen from some electric vehicle advocates is quite sensible. They've said, yeah, we believe that down the track, certainly a tax on kilometres driven for EVs would make sense, but only if you tax all vehicles. You tax petrol vehicles, EVs, everyone for the kilometres they drive, and also make it related to the weight of the vehicle. But at the moment, when the EV industry is in its infancy in Australia, 0.6% as I said before, then this isn't the time to go and whack a new tax on because this is a major disincentive to people. You've got countries like Norway, 55.9% of new car sales in Norway are EVs. You've got Sweden, you've got the Netherlands, you've got those sort of countries in 11, 12, 13, 15%. Even China, who's only at 4.9%, but their total vehicle sales are over 1 million. All our vehicle sales in Australia are over 1 million. So you've got these countries generating a huge number of sales in EVs, and here we are in Australia, way behind, and now we're introducing taxes on them. Just seems crazy.
Oh, it absolutely is. Because I was saying to someone the other day that I believe, at least in my lifetime, I'm going to end up owning at least one electric vehicle. I see that as a given.
Yeah.
And even as a combustible kind of, as you said, like I drive a petrol car at the moment. I pay a petrol tax and I paid a stamp duty when I bought the thing and all that. Like, I don't mind if you build it into the price and there's a little bit. But if you're just going to go out of your way just to go, no, I'm just going to tax it for the sake of taxing it, like that's just ridiculous.
And it's a good point you make because electric vehicles at the moment, the ticket price is dearer. So you're paying more stamp duty. You're paying more GST on the purchase of the vehicle. You're paying a higher luxury car tax on the purchase of the vehicle. The ACT's got it right. The ACT actually has interest-free loans for people that are buying electric vehicles. They've got either waived or reduced registration fees and no tax on the actual kilometres that you drive. So I think they're trying to encourage EV adoption and that's quite sensible. So it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And there's other things you can do. I was talking to my brother recently who's in Canada And he was actually looking at an EV. There's some government incentives in place, but one of the things they've got in place is that they've got the ability for EVs to drive in bus lanes. So rather than just giving people money to buy EVs, they're saying, hey, you've got some advantages to an EV. You're going to get to work quicker because you can drive in the bus lane. So that's encouraging the uptake. So every other country around the world is working out how do we encourage EV uptake, and our government, full of geniuses obviously, is trying to tax the concept.
Sensational they are. Absolutely sensational, the lot of them, Matt.
Yeah.
You should know that. It's phenomenal.